for me, I think. Hello, LK. Good to see you. Good afternoon, Fred. I'm not early, Bob. I'm right on time. Always. Some days we need to start a little later because it feels right. Some days we need to start a little earlier because it feels right. We got to do what feels right. There's been plenty of times where I'm just sitting here and I'm like, no, I can't start yet. It's not time. It doesn't feel right. It's not time. Anyway, there's a method. Don't worry. There's a method to the madness for sure. Welcome to the Tradespoon live trading room, stocks and options. Closing bell full of blabberish, as Bob would call it. I think full of insights, knowledge, wisdom, and a bit of wit and humor. But, you know, we all call it different things. Maybe that's the technical term of blabberish. I don't know. It probably is. My name is Scott. I'm the head trading coach here at Tradespoon. This is my background. Trading for a little while, teaching for a little less, but a good while still. These are the disclosures. We're not advisors. We're not brokers. We're educators and traders here. Okay. Before Bob accuses me of any more blabberish, I better get started on the presentation. Stocks rebound from sell-off. We're looking at it this year. So some of the people who are like, oh, they're not going to raise them at all. Come on, man. We can't go from they're going to raise it or lower them, not raise them. Of course, they're not going to raise them at all. Lower them. You can't go from like we're going to lower them 2.75 to we're not going to lower them at all. Let's just find some middle ground. 3-4 cuts maybe. We started strong, rallied, gave it back, but still up 0.5% on the S&P. Barely positive on the Dow. Dow's struggling to hang on. NASDAQ 5. Oil had like a big spike up and then right back down, still up over 1%. What else? Job openings back to lowest level since 2021. Okay. Well, I mean, here's the deal. We're going to look at the economic calendar. Of all employment data, job openings is least significant to me and I think to the market. Least significant. What do I mean by that? Well, we have a lot of employment data going on, right? We had ADP last month, 107. This month expecting 150, and we got 140. Okay. Stable. That's not concerning at all. At all. Jer Barris speaking to Congress. Inventories basically flat, lower, a little bit lower than expected. But job openings last month, 8.9 million. Expecting 8.9 million. We got 8.9 million. I don't know what that article is talking about. It's the same level it was last month. Am I wrong? 8.86. See, I'm only at 8.9. There were 8.86, not 8.89. Oh, you're telling me there was 3,000 jobs less on openings on a scale that reads 9 million? Oh, interesting. I guess they had expected 8.85, and we got 8.86. Slight decrease, but a little bit above. And still well above historical numbers, significantly above historical numbers. So even though companies don't need what they needed here, we still need a lot more than we did, let's say, prior to the pandemic, right? Prior to the pandemic, back in 18-19, we were around 7 million. And that was a good growth market. So as long as we stay above that, I feel like it'll be pretty good, right? I feel like we're okay overall. So are we pulling back? Because people are like, oh, look what happened when we pulled back. That's pulling back from 5 million to 2 million, right? And that was servicing a significantly higher unemployment rate. We're at a 3.7. At least that's what we're expected to be. And this is still at a significant number. I have no concern with that there. Like I said, that's the least concerning. No one cares what Mary says, but we did care about the beige book. Tomorrow, jobless claims. We were at 215 last week, expecting 217 this week. Again, until I see it above 250 for multiple weeks in a row, like I would want to see a 3-week average above 270. And then I'd be like, oh, shit. Something's going on we need to pay attention to. Okay, until we get there, the labor market is fine. As long as the labor market is fine, I'm going to generally feel pretty good about the market, all things considered. Bob says head hanging on the wrong side of crowd. Oh no, like you bought puts and then it rallied, or you were just thinking it wasn't and then it smashed higher. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. It was about 18%. I haven't looked at it in a little bit now, but some strength there, most certainly. Then we have non-farm payrolls. So remember, last month we had a unexpectedly dominant. I think last month we were expecting 150 and they got 350, doubled expectations, more than doubled expectations. This month we're expecting 198,000 jobs added, new jobs. We're expecting unemployment to stay at 3.7. Yeah, more employment data to come. Here's how Stella sees it right now. Stella says bullish. I agree. I'm in agreement. Bullish on the SPY. What am I? I'm bullish. I'm back to a 7. If you follow my market posturing, I mean, I've been bullish basically since early November was when I really transitioned out of that consolidation and have been bullish since then. Haven't dropped below what's the lowest we've been? 5 and a quarter for a minute, and then right back up. Looks great. Market looks great. A lot of people out there they're talking, the talking heads, they're talking, they're thinking, they're feeling, they're believing. I just want to see. What do I see? I see strength across the board. Volume is going to drop, at least as of now. Why do I say that? It's a selling day. It's 10%, but that matches the rules. The rule's 5 or more. It's 10% above average on a selling day. Today, you can see we're holding on. The trend is holding on. There's no trend break, right? We're consolidating down. We're going to look at the VIX here in a minute. This is fine. I mean, we didn't get a good rally on this last move. I thought maybe we would have gotten a little more here. If you tried it, maybe you made a little on a couple of trades. Maybe you broke even. Maybe you took a small loss. Shouldn't be bad, but we did not get a big move here. But I still think one is setting up. We're still in line with the trend. Everything looks fine. Look how far above the 50 we are. Everything looks fine. Setting up. That's where I see us. Stella agrees. She says more bullish than not about the SPY. Let's go through the other markets. How are you feeling out there, everybody? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Are you neutral? Are you trading? Stella loves the way that QQQ looks, and sometimes she gets a little finicky with the Qs. But you can see here, bing, bing, looking for the pop, a bullish kick. That's what that bing, bing sound means, bullish kick. Bing, bing. You know what that means. Of course you do. When you see it on a chart, you hear it in your mind. I'm sure of it. The Dow is showing what? Yeah, NVIDIA was tough, right? NVIDIA, it gave a new flag signal, and you had to jump in. You had to run to catch that train and jump on. That's how it is, though, right? With a stock like that. NVIDIA looks good. BITO, is that a Bitcoin related something or other? I don't know what BITO is right offhand. Trading with hedges on, LK said. Got it. The Dow a little more sideways. I'm okay with that. You know, I believe the Dow is going to fall into more of a secondary position in a growth market. It's been moving pretty well, but Bitcoin ETF with options, mit options, as the Germans would say. IWM. IWM. All right, bullish on 3 out of 4. The 3 that are bullish are our growth. The one that's more sideways is our defensive. So, yeah, Stella, add Stella to the mix. Everything's in line. Everything looks good. SMH. Yeah, I like SMH. What do we have going on here? Well, we tend to get a little bit of a false bump. Yeah, remember we talked about that. We said right here, this might not get a full bump. It might be a false bump. I remember specifically. You can go back and play the recordings, but right in through here saying, hey, it may not be a full bump, it may be a small bump, but I'm still going to try because I never know. I'm still going to try. And if I have to take my losses, if I have to try to take some profits, if I have whatever I have to do, ultimately, I think I'm net positive on this little bounce. It was a good enough bounce. We got a couple of days, gave some back, holding on. We said that might happen based very specifically on this, where here in late February, early March, it bounces a little. And then around the 5th, 6th, what happens? It pulls back. And somewhere around this, 5th, this 6th through the 10th, 12th, what happens? We catch a bounce. Maybe a small pullback and another bounce. Pullback and another bounce. We should have 3, maybe 4 windows in this bullish expectation of ours, right? I think we should have potentially a potential window here where we stand, another one here, end of the month, another one through here in this consolidation. And if it gets to this point, am I still going to take a run at that? Hell yeah. Maybe even a little one right through here. That's what I'm looking for. Right there. A lot of things helping me see it. Love it. Okay. Today's heat map going on. Oh, Disney's getting beat up today. Charter Communications. Tesla. I haven't looked at it. Look at Morgan Stanley. What the hell's happening there? PNC Bank. It totally shifted. Who's noticed this? Look at this. Apple used to be down here. They moved semiconductors. Semiconductors used to sit above Apple, and Apple was down here. I'm like, wait a second, something looks different. Do you guys notice that? Am I the only one? Is everybody's heat map look differently? Now I need to go look at the market watch, visualize. Heat map's even different still than that. They've got chips on top and tech software and infrastructure below. Interesting. Fantastic 7 relegated to 7 losers. Yeah, Meta still looks good. Google's struggling. Apple's struggling. Microsoft is okay. Amazon still looks good. Tesla's no good. Nvidia's still good. But remember what we've said the whole time. This market has always been broad enough for us. We've never been concerned with that. They were the catalyst to get everything else moving. But if they struggle and everything else is strong enough, it keeps going, which is exactly what we've seen, right? Exactly what we've seen. Okay, now what? Okay, so we have chips look great. Software looks great. Not Apple, not Microsoft. Meta's still strong. Financials still look good. Industrials still look good. We still know where the money is. We're still going to the right places. Healthcare. I like XLV as a broad-based ETF. Absolutely, 100%. 100%. Like the way the heat map looks. What do we have here? Fed watch. There isn't, nor has there been, an expectation. We're now 2 weeks away. No expectation there. June, we're still 4-1 against. Nope. May, we're still 4-1 against. June, for a little bit today, we got to 2-1 in favor of. I've been in the May camp for a while thinking, oh, maybe they'll still surprise us, but I find myself moving to June. I think June. I think the Fed's going to be cautious, but they don't want to err on the wrong side again, right? It's okay to knock it and give it a 0.25. If we get another month or two with some downward numbers, I think they're going to start to ease up a little bit. So June is the first time we have better than expected or better than not probability of a cut. July, we actually end up, significantly in favor of, and if not just a quarter of a point, even odds for a half a point that we get a cut in June and then a second in July. So there you go. Okay. That's everything. Let's get a quiz. We'll talk about the VIX. We'll look at our watch list. What else? Quiz. Oh, yeah, the selling's coming in here. And since was this Powell or was this Bay's book? I think that might have been Bay's book. Coming back down. We're right at the lows. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. There. And I'm going to go across this transition here. A, B, C. A is at 509.60 or above. 509.60 or above. B, 508.40. It's a $1.20 range. You can see this. These last three candles have just been like boom, 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 back and forth. What's your number? A, B, C. At or above 509.60, you're an A. Below 509.60, but above 508.40, you're B. Below. Okay, Fred's in. He's an A. Oh, an A. Fred's looking for it. LK is a B. Bob is a B. Man, I'll tell you what. We're oversold. We're right at those lows. Early in the day, we broke that opening range down, and then it held, and then it rallied, and then we hit some resistance up here around 512. Broke that double top. Came down. Bob is a B. I'm going to join the Bs. I'm going to join the Bs. I'm going to mark John as a C because John's always a C, but he's in here today. And I'm going to go look at Stella and see what she sees. It's quiet. We're low on numbers today. Anybody else want to get in while the getting's good? SPY. Oh, Stella sees it too. Bouncing up into the A territory, but then settling back down. Ooh, not quite. She says 509.71. 509.71 is up here. Stella is going to join Fred as an A. Nobody is a C, huh? All right. Put in Angelique for an A, Fred says. Heck yes. Angelique's an A. Ted's a B. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, everybody's in. Let's close it down. Stella's an A. Brad's a B. We got 4 Bs, 5 Bs. Good stuff. Thank you for joining late, gentlemen. Much appreciated. And let's go look at the VIX. Oh, VIX, what are you telling us? What are you telling us? So what's happening here? concerned, but not overly concerned. So we've had this, and then it moved up a little bit, and it was broadening, and it's like, oh, is it gonna be bad? And then it did it again here, and then all of a sudden, it kind of topped out, came back down, lower high. Nice, good move down, lower low. And so now I'm like, well, are we doing this now? Because we did have a lower low right here, and we're coming down. And I said, if we do pop up, what I'm looking for is, does it do something like this and then roll over? Because if it rolls over like that, then this is a lower high, and this is a subsequent lower high. And my thought is are we now going to move into this thought process? That's what I would expect. If we get a rally through April into early May, that's what I would expect the VIX to look like, right? So if you're in that camp, you definitely should be thinking about that, right? Definitely should be thinking about that. Questions, thoughts, concerns about the VIX, let me know. But as of now, I didn't get a hedge because it was a lower low, not a higher low. And now I feel like I'm seeing the development of a lower high. And the lower high would definitely support the thought process that we are holding support on this consolidation. Right? So if it pauses and then turns, boom, boom, like we said, that's an entry. This is going to start to do this, and then it's going to turn up, and it's going to be like, yeah, that's go sign. In fact, I would want to be entering somewhat early in the day if I'm trying to set up an automated entry position. Yeah. Yes. So, okay, let's get to the watch list. I don't see any concerns. Everything looks great. VIX is low. Market's trending higher. All the sectors are growth sectors. Everything looks fine. Anyone who's talking doom and gloom is just a pessimist. If you're pessimistic about Apple, I agree. We've sort of taken Apple off the table. We've been off the table really ever since. Think about it, but it didn't. It went all the way back down, and it made a same low, and then it made a lower high, and then we broke support, and now we're almost all the way back down here, starting over from October. Fine. I want the same thing, and I didn't really get it over there because this happened around earnings. But what I'm looking for is this thing to pop up, like give me this V pattern, and then give me a higher low. If it does that, giddy up. Even if it's still below the 50, right? Even if it's even if it's still below the 50, I agree, Fred. It may not be done being cheap. And if not, it might just pop up like this, and then bam. And if it breaks this low here, man, who knows? Who knows where next might be? Yeah, if we break this low, this thing could be heading back towards 140s, high 140s. We'd like to see it stabilize for sure. So, Apple. Let's get back to here. AIG. I got to tell you, this one was crazy because I traded this. An A for the quiz. John, I marked you as a C. I traded this up to about right here to the weekend, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And then all of a sudden it opened on Monday, and I'm like, yeah, well done, Scott. Way to take your profit. And then 3 days later, I'm like, holy crap, man. Where did that come from? Look at your stochastics. Overbought. That I would look at this and think, oh, is this flagging? No, it's just busting higher. All right, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? AMD at resistance, nothing for us. AMZN. I think Amazon looks great. I think Amazon looks setting up. It's pausing. Yeah. So Amazon's flagging, definitely setting up. If the market moves, I see this one as being a strong candidate. AXP setting up. AXP. AXP is a strong financial stock. Flagging. Definitely want to be ready for this one when it turns. Put it on the list. Boeing, nothing here. Okay. So I haven't watched it much since Jon Stewart left, but if you are a fan, Jon Stewart is back on Mondays. Anyway, pretty hilarious as always. I'm a fan, but he did a little story or expose on Boeing. Did anybody see that? If you missed it, go to YouTube and pull up the most recent Jon Stewart Daily Show. Man, they eviscerated Boeing. It was terrible. Doesn't show well for them at all. Apparently, there was a Boeing CEO at one point who married his first cousin. And the guy looked like he was maybe a product of a first cousin marriage. Hilarious. Terrible. Okay, moving on. BLDR looks great. Waiting for the pullback. Put it on the list. So what do we have? We have Amazon, consumer discretionary, industrials. BX. Oh, BX. You're just falling apart, man. You're breaking 50. I don't know. I'm probably going to kick it off the list. I never got suckered into any of this. It was close, I got to tell you. And yeah, it's not looking good, breaking the 50. Citi. Oh, Citi. Citi came back for me this morning. I'm like, what have I done? I took a piece of Citi up here. When it got to this old high, took a little piece. And then it came back. And then today it was down here. And I'm like, shit. And now it's back up here. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Still going, baby. A defensive, RTX. NO, what is Northrop? NOC? Is that Northrop? NOC. If you had to guess how many companies, trading tickers you know, where you could go either way. You could go like they give you the ticker, you tell them the company, they give you the company, you tell them the ticker. How many do you think you know? How many? I've wondered that. I think I've got to know at least 500, maybe more. I don't know. I've been doing it a long time. Caterpillar consolidating, industrials. Put it on the list. Capital One. I literally remember, this is so funny. I literally remember, I think it was probably one of my first 5 days out of training and on the phone at Fidelity. I wasn't licensed yet. You get trained, and then you start taking calls, and then you're on a non-licensed line. And then as you get your license, you move into trading, options, derivative, retirement, tax, whatever. I went to the options desk because I love options. Anyway, guy's like, can you get me a quote on this? And I'm like, what's the ticker? And he's like, you don't know the ticker of blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, anyway, it always makes me laugh because I'm thinking, man, I bet I know so many more now. Let's get back to it. My ADD is kicking in. COF now. I don't like, there's a few, I want you to notice what's happening in some of these financials. Some of these financials are turning sideways. And so there's still strength in financials, but there's also some individual companies where it's like, oh, you know what? Maybe we need to get rid of those and go find a few more of the leaders. I want the leaders. COP, nothing for me in oil yet. Costco did the same damn thing that AIG did. I got out here as I was supposed to. And then the next day I'm like, eh. And then all of a sudden these 3 days, it kicks up while your stochastics is dropping. I don't know. Earnings were coming up. What are you going to do? Now you got to wait for earnings. There's nothing there. Those just sort of came out of nowhere. Oh, man, look at Crowd giving it all back. Crowd was up 18%. It's giving back 10% of that. I don't know. We got to just watch this one now for a little while. There's nothing. There's nothing here for us yet, right? So, okay. CSX, I like it. I tried it, closed it. It didn't hold up. I got in pretty early here, pulled back. It was a wash, maybe a slight loss. But hey, if I can take a stab at a trade where I'm thinking I'm getting 3-1 and things go wrong and I don't lose anything, hell yeah, I'm in. Delta, maybe pulling back and setting up, put it on the list. Same with DHI. As it was going sideways, I wasn't interested. But then what? It broke out with volume. Bam. Okay, buyers did their thing. Sellers testing the waters. If they don't push it back below this level, yeah, giddy up. DHI on the list. The Dow coming down. Ford. I closed Ford yesterday. Got in, saw it. Did I take a piece up here? You know I did. I always take a small piece at old highs, which was great. I wish it was more. Unfortunately, the rest of it down here. Anybody trade Ford? I hope you're not in still. If you traded Ford and you're still in it, I'm gonna tell you, you got to reevaluate those exits and ask yourself, what was I looking for? Right? We want to let our winners run, but we don't want to let our winners run into losers. So always a fine line there, right? Always a fine line. Yeah, Bob, well done. Well done. Did you take some at the high? Also, at the old high where you did a little pressure release? I wish it was more contracts. It's not very many right now, but I'd like to ease a little bit there. Well done, sir. Love it. Fastenal on the list. Flagging. Look at that. It's a beautiful stock. Industrials are great. This is a leader. It's pulling back. It's consolidating into a entry. So when I look at this market and I'm like, oh, it's been red for 2 days in a row. Yeah, great. I'm bullish. I'm building my shopping list, man. Right? Like, let's go. GBTC, Bitcoin. Bitcoin got all smashed up yesterday, pulled back up today. I still think it's at resistance. I still think it's the Wild West. So if you trade it, just be careful with what you put into it and how you manage your risk. Talk about beasts. Look at GE. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's in its consolidation now, but it's already back up 1%. I will continue to watch it. And if it flags like this again and turns, we will talk about it. I won't trade it so that if you want to, it could still work. If I trade it, it's going to end up back down here at 130. So I'm going to just watch. GE and I, we don't see eye to eye. Gold. Okay, I'm gonna say, someone remind me on Friday. On Friday, Kevin, who comes on Fridays, he's like, "Oh, there's a bunch of people buying gold." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" No, there's not. Look at it; it's going sideways. But by the end of Friday, it was here, and now look where we are. He was right, man. There was a big smash and grab into gold. I mean, it wasn't like, look how crazy it got 5%, but kudos, credit credit where deserved. Google. Yeah, come on, Google. Come on, Google. You can do better than that. Coming down in this consolidation. You know what I'm looking for. It's got to break it. It's got to come back. This would have been, you would have been watching, and then all of a sudden it comes back down. That's a higher low. That's valid. It got you this. Then it came down. Higher low. Got you this. Then it came down. Higher low. Got you this. Came down. Higher low. Got you this. It works. But what we need first, we need the first one. We need this one. And we hope it doesn't take this big of a move. It doesn't usually take that big of a move. We're usually looking for it to happen over in here. And that's the thing that I think from that beautiful drawing. If not, it's not me, it's you. I'm just saying. I don't mean for that to hurt your feelings if it does. Clearly that drawing was perfect. Home Depot, put it on the list. Another consumer discretionary, just made a new high, flagging like it's in a parade. Yeah. IBM, can we look at Yum? Of course, Ted. You know that I like to adhere to a somewhat alphabetical order. I'm going to try to remember, but when I get close to the Y's, actually, that's the very last thing we'll do is look at Yum. How about that? Because all we do is look at the XL sector stocks. Yes. IBM, back in business. So we've been waiting for IBM as it's gone through this, like post-earnings, I don't know what. And now the buyers have come back in. They did it with some volume. Very nice. What do I need? I need a pullback, higher low. Let's go. Yum Brand. Yum Brand is who? Is Yum Brand Taco Bell and Panda Express? Who do they have? I can always forget who the different restaurant companies are. I thought I liked Yum Brand. If anyone knows what logos they have in their KFC and Taco Bell, there it is. KFC and Taco Bell. Who doesn't like KFC and Taco Bell? Come on. Okay, what else? Intel. I'm back on a maybe for Intel for chips. What's happened? We've gone sideways. We broke out. Huh? We broke out with volume. Good. Buyers. We've pulled back. Higher low. As long as this thing holds up at a higher low, then it's a maybe. And I'll think about it. If I can build the trade right, then yeah. Absolutely. IWM, put it on the list. Put it on the list. It's SPY poked its head into A territory. Remember, the model saw that and said it's going to, look good, but we'll see. We'll see. IWM I like. JP Morgan I like, but it's overextended. You got to be patient. Patient with that. Meta I like, and it seems to be consolidating here. We'll see. It hasn't given us, like, that was kind of a flag. Like, it just sort of keeps on marching higher. I'd like to see something a little more consistent, but it does still look bullish. Microsoft looks okay. It's holding up, but it's definitely more sideways than not. I don't think I'm going to look to take a trade here, even though it's above the 50. I think I'd like to see it, do one of these first. You can see that, it can just come out of these things, especially around the 50. So if you're thinking about it, I'm not going to try to dissuade you. There's certainly validity to that, right? We go up, we consolidate for a little bit, we go up, we consolidate for a little bit. Actually, I'm almost talking myself into this, like from a pattern perspective, especially as it's sitting on top of the 50. Sitting behind me. Let's call him Jacob. That's my scribe. Jacob, put it on the list. And he's, yeah, boss. Darden, that's the other one. Bob, DRI. Darden has Olive Garden and Red Lobster. Is Red Lobster still a restaurant? I loved their cheddar biscuits back in the day, but are they still around? I don't think they have them in Utah anymore. They've all disappeared. Olive Garden for sure. I have a brand new Olive Garden down the street. I love Olive Garden. Just for Red Lobster. I hear that they had like a all you can eat crab or shrimp or something that they did one time that lost so much money. Only the Sizzler can do that with their shrimp because they're just, it's like, that's like 2-week-old shrimp. No one will eat that much of it. Microsoft, good. Netflix, put it on the list. Nvidia, beast mode. If you missed it, you missed it. This was it. Here's your flag. And there it is, busting out early that day, Friday. And bingo, bango. 4 days later, it's up 10%. And you're like, should I take it? Should I hold on? Oh, God, it's so fast. Picard, overextended, nothing for us. Q's, I think it's setting up. Ross Stores, I had a good trade on Ross Stores. They gapped down on earnings. I actually look at this and think to myself, because this is earnings based, I would actually discount this whole thing and just pretend like it didn't happen. Draw my trend line across here. And I am ready to go again. Give me a doji followed by a nice little pop out of this and giddy up. I'm in. I don't care about that weird day. That's how I'm going to treat it. MCI. Woo. Again, what happened? That was your possibility right through there. There or not at all. KBH, TOL, I agree. I have DHI, and I think it looks on the list. Not surprised to see KBH or TOL, KB Homes, Toll Brothers, or even just XBH for the home builders. There's the SPY. Where are we? I think we're in the A territory now still. Is that right? Look at that. Look at that smashing up into the A territory. I bet John wishes he was on time so that he would be an A because he wanted to be an A, but I marked him as a C. I'm just kidding. I'll put you as an A. TPRs setting up if we get to the right chart. All one big consolidation. I'm okay with this. Still looks pretty good. Overall, all things considered. Did we? I thought we were into A territory. I thought we went straight through it. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll go back. TSM. I mean, obviously, if you missed one, you missed them all, but it's bullish, and the next consolidation, I would definitely be looking to trade it. UNP still setting up. Put it on the list. VIX flat. Nothing we need to do or with that. Waste management. That's valid. That was valid here. That was valid for me here. Still valid. If you go to your Heiken Ashi, it's good to go. It's not moving strongly yet, but certainly might expect it to accelerate, of course. Walmart. Just a trade here on Monday, breaking out of this flag. Bam, bam. 2 more days in. Looks good. XBI. Setting up if you're into pharmaceuticals. Not pharmaceuticals. Well, an offshoot of pharmaceuticals, biotech. Materials are, I don't love it, but they're high. It puts a little bit of inflationary pressure from a producer's standpoint. C still looks strong, even though Google's dragging it a little bit. Meta's going to try to carry it. XLE grinding a little higher. Financial still looks fine. Industrial still looks fine, nice and strong. Technology still looks fine, nice and strong. A little more volatile, of course. Staples still look fine. Everything's looking good. Utilities. Now, some people might be like, oh, utilities are starting to look bullish. Well, it will at some point. It'll just be less bullish than everything else. Even if it moves at a bullish trajectory like this and everything else is moving at a bullish trajectory like this, What does that tell us? It tells us that it's a lagging sector. It's defensive, as we would expect. What we're looking for is if it's breaking out and really starts to lead while the rest of the market is consolidating. That we would interpret as defensively, and that would have more severe repercussions as far as our trading is concerned. XLV, I mean, that looks viable, right? That looks tradable. Here's your support. We've come down. Looks like it's turning. Stochastics is turning. If you wanted to wait for a little confirmation, a little more confirmation, you certainly could, but I definitely think that looks viable. Lot of bull market. What do you mean? It's right here. It's sitting on top of us. We're in it. We're riding it. Ride the bull. Ride the bull. Now what? Consumer discretionary. Oh, look how bullish that looks. Amazon. Right? Look how bullish that looks. Home Depot. Home builders. Do they consider home builders to be retail, like consumer discretionary, or industrial? I always forget. There's just a lot of ambiguity sometimes. You're like, I could put this in 3 different places and be comfortable with it, to be fair. Okay, now speaking of Kentucky Fried Chicken and Taco Bell, let's go look at Yum Brands. It looks bullish. It is consumer discretionary. It looks like it's trying to pop out of this kind of a flag-like scenario, like here, and it's trying to break out of it with your stochastics turning back up. I think it looks pretty good. As far as restaurants go, we really don't consider. It's funny because McDonald's is considered more defensive, but it looks a little more sideways. DRI is Darden. Darden looks great. It's looking good. A lot of people eating at the Olive Garden. A lot of people eating cheddar biscuits. Let's take a look at our old friend, the CMG Burrito Factory. Oh, man. The Burrito Factory busted out. We stopped watching it because we were like, what is going on with this thing? Right? We stopped watching, went sideways, and then it broke, and then it's like, and then all of a sudden, look at this. Gets these earnings, smashed it, running on up, and we went from 1890, it's up 50% from here to here. The options work like clockwork. Volatility rises, earnings come out, craps out, starts the process over again, like clockwork. What a funny stock. They're not expensive. The volatility is at 20, but it is a $2,700 stock. I gotta figure that they would want to do these guys could go 10-1 split and would still be an expensive stock, right? Still be an expensive stock. You price some people out of the market this way, but maybe that's what they want. I mean, theoretically, you don't anymore, right? Because you can buy a fractional share. You're like, I could go buy a 1/10 of a share of CMG. My broker will give me that. Cover it from their inventory, essentially, right? But I don't know. There are times where I think splits psychologically do make sense. So that's what it looks like in food. Yum looks good. CMG looks good. McDonald's doesn't. DRI does. There are some things that are in there. So, all right, let's go win a prize. Let's go see who wins the prize. We went, this is A's. A's, you smashed it. Huh? A's. A is a Fred. Fred wins. Angelique wins because Fred nominated her posthumously. And John, I'm giving it to you. A's, you win a prize, your shiny gold medal for your, what was the number? What was the A number? 50960 by 50840. right? That was what it was. Doesn't that sound right? 508.40 by 509.60. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it's great to see you guys. I will be back on Friday morning. We'll have some coffee. We'll have some laughs. We'll talk about the market. It's going to be magical. Fred, you guys, Fred's getting a little braggadocious. He said his box is getting full with his shiny gold medals. He said it's quiet when he shakes it, though. Love it. Thanks, everybody. It's great to see you guys. Have a great rest of your day. See you Friday. As always, happy trading.